Bluey the movie just got its first 3D teaser, Zootopia 3 will be about birds, and Dash and Violet will be the main characters in The Incredibles 3. And those are just a few of the things we found out at Disney's D23 event. Bluey the movie. The first teaser for the Bluey movie was finally shown to the public. It was short but incredible, because it showed just how different the movie's animation will look compared to what we've seen in the series before. It had already been confirmed that the Australian pup's new adventure would be made in 3D animation, but this was the first time we actually got to see what she and Bingo look like in this new style. We still don't have a lot of official information about the movie, but it was revealed that a huge surprise is going to change everything for the Healer family. What could that surprise be? We'll have to wait a little longer to find out, so it's good to know that the movie will hit theaters on August 6, 2027. So are you excited to find out which new Disney and Pixar movies were just announced? So grab your popcorn and get comfy on the couch. Another Cinewave is starting. Frozen 3. After all these years, Frozen is finally getting another sequel, and this time we're going to meet a brand new villain. And the best part, this villain will have powers just like Elsa. A teaser for Frozen 3 was shown at the event. Pay close attention to Anna and Kristoff. They're wearing wedding outfits. Yes, the movie will show the two of them getting married, but that isn't even the most shocking part. A mysterious woman appears and reveals that she has powers similar to Elsa's. Elsa even attacks her, which means this new character will most likely be the movie's main villain. The best part is that Frozen 3 isn't the only movie on the way. In fact, it's being made at the same time as Frozen 4. Yes, two movies in the franchise are being developed simultaneously because they'll both be part of one big story split into two parts. Disney wants to turn this new adventure with Elsa and Anna into a true event, and that event already has a release date, November 24th, 2027. Now here comes the controversial part. Moana 2 also ended by strongly hinting that its story would continue in another movie, even introducing an evil god named Nalo. Could Moana 3 already be in development, with Disney secretly keeping it from us? There's no way to know for sure yet, but we do know that Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps are coming back, and birds will appear in their next movie. Zootopia 3. That's right, Frozen isn't the only Disney franchise getting another sequel, because Zootopia 3 was announced at this event. And what we said about the birds isn't even a theory. It has already been confirmed that they'll be extremely important to the next case Judy and Nick investigate, just like reptiles played a major role in the story of the second movie. This was already somewhat obvious from the post-credits scene in Zootopia 2, which ends with a bird feather landing on Judy's window, almost as if a bird were secretly watching her. Along with the announcement, a teaser was shown that picks up directly from that post-credits scene. The scene reveals that the feather on the window was blown away by the wind and landed next to a newspaper. Then, a bird's foot steps right onto that newspaper. But zoom in on it, the headline is about Nick and Judy. That makes it much more likely that this mysterious bird is going after the main characters for some reason. The sequel still doesn't have an official release date, so we can imagine that it'll probably come out sometime between 2028 and 2029. Lilo and Stitch 2. Actually, several other sequels were shown at this event. One of them is Lilo and Stitch 2, the sequel to the Lilo and Stitch remake released in 2025. And they already brought us one very welcome surprise. The movie will introduce Angel, who is basically the female counterpart to Stitch. Take a close look at her face right there. What's interesting is that the story of this sequel will be original, instead of adapting the animated movie sequels that were released straight to DVD. Even so, there's a good chance the script could take inspiration from Lilo and Stitch the series, a spin-off of the original movies that showed Stitch capturing several other experiments like him that had been hiding on Earth. After all, Angel is going to be one of the biggest highlights of Lilo and Stitch 2, and she was originally introduced in that very series, where she was a pretty important character. On top of that, a movie about Stitch fighting several little alien monsters that are just as powerful as he is has a ton of potential, especially because it gives the company the perfect excuse to sell tons of toys and plushies of adorable little monsters. Well, if you're also dying to watch Lilo and Stitch 2, mark the release date on your calendar, May 26, 2028. The Incredibles 3. Also in 2028, we'll see the return of Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, Dash, Violet, and Jack-Jack in The Incredibles 3. It looks like this time the kids will be the main characters, with the story following them as they try to prove themselves as superheroes and sneak out of the house at night to fight crime without their parents finding out. Pause right here during the movie's presentation at D23. This is the image of a mysterious villain who will probably be the story's antagonist. What we know about him is that he'll be powerful enough to defeat the entire family all at once. Oh, and to be more specific about the release date, the movie comes out on June 16th, 2028. The fact that The Incredibles 3 is being made could be a sign that we'll see even more animated movies about people with superpowers. And if we think about it that way, could Disney already have plans for an Encanto 2 and just not have confirmed it yet? Comment #Encanto down below if you'd also love to see this movie get a sequel. Coco 2. Well, Encanto 2 may not have been announced yet, but there was one movie that got everyone talking at D23. We're talking about Coco 2, which will feature the return of Ernesto de la Cruz. In fact, it looks like Miguel will be sent to the land of the dead because of Ernesto, who will try to get revenge on him. And we can already tell we're going to cry a lot because Miguel will reunite with the spirit of his grandma, who passed away at the end of the first movie, in what could be one of the most emotional scenes in any Pixar production. A lot of people are excited for this movie. By the way, it comes out on November 21st, 2029. Wow, we're still going to have to wait quite a while for this one, huh? Tangled. Meanwhile, the live-action remake of Tangled will be released on March 31st, 2028. During D23, Disney showed a video of the actors dressed as their characters, both Tegan Croft as Rapunzel and Milo Manheim as Flynn Rider. In fact, we even got a glimpse of Mother Gothel, who will be played by Kathryn Hahn, best known for playing Agatha in WandaVision and Agatha All Along. Visually, the characters look very similar to their animated counterparts. Now we just have to see whether the movie's story will also be the same, or if it'll surprise us with different changes that could end up being for better or for worse. Gatau. We've talked about so many sequels and remakes, but Disney is also working on several original animated movies. One of them is called Gatau, and it has everything it needs to be incredible, because it's going to be about an Italian kitten who gets involved with the mafia. When you say it like that, it almost sounds like a joke. But we're being serious. The movie really will be about Italy's cat mafia, referencing classics like The Godfather. Wait, there's already a parody of the Godfather character in Zootopia. Does Pixar really love that movie that much? We can't know for sure, but what we do know is that the movie will be released on March 5th, 2027. This one is actually pretty close. Hexed. Hexed is another original animated movie coming very soon, and D23 revealed who the villain of this story will be. In fact, Hexed is Disney's next animated release, currently scheduled for November 25th, 2026, and its story will be about Billy, a quirky girl who suddenly awakens magical powers and then ends up in a magical world where there are other people with powers just like hers. Apparently, the movie's villain will be a witch played by Jodie Foster, an award-winning actress who starred in classics like The Silence of the Lambs. We have a feeling she's going to traumatize a lot of little kids with her villain performance. Ghost Market. Out of all the original animated movies currently being made, Ghost Market is one of the most interesting because it's going to be a ghost movie. In it, a content creator named Kyle will end up getting caught up in an adventure that crosses both the world of the living and the world of the dead. It sounds a little like Coco, but it looks like it'll have a much more ghostly style, almost like a horror movie. Just not too much, because Pixar definitely doesn't want kids who are scared of ghosts running away from this movie. And speaking of the movie, it's currently scheduled to hit theaters on March 10th, 2028. The subscribe button is right there, waiting for you. How about clicking and keeping up with everything we post? Clay. Did you notice that a lot of these new projects are going to involve magic in one way or another? Well, Clay is going to follow that trend too, but in a slightly different way. We still know very little about this production, like the fact that it will be about Flip, a troublemaker who will have to set off on a journey through an enchanted forest. What's interesting is that the main character will be played by Kieran Culkin, the brother of Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone. And that might not even be the most unexpected thing on this list, because after talking about so many new projects, Disney also brought back a franchise that hadn't had a main movie in about 10 years. Ice Age. Ice Age Boiling Point. Alright, we've seen that Disney has some original movies with a lot of potential coming up, but how about we go back to the sequels for a moment? Because we need to talk about Ice Age Boiling Point, the franchise's big comeback. The last main movie in the franchise was Ice Age Collision Course, released in 2016, about 10 years ago. Since then, the only thing released from the franchise was a spin-off called The Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild, but we can already see that's about to change. And you can start getting excited because the new adventure will involve dinosaurs and erupting volcanoes, promising to be epic. We'll find out for sure on February 5th, 2027. And we still haven't talked about the movie with the most ridiculous title of the entire D23. Did you know that a movie from 2007 is getting a sequel? And the best part? The name of this sequel is completely absurd. The new Simpsons movie. Yes, we're talking about a sequel to 2007's The Simpsons movie. And no, it won't be called The Simpsons Movie 2. Its official title really is The New Simpsons Movie, the kind of title no one would ever expect to see on an actual sequel. Since The Simpsons is a franchise that loves making jokes, this title actually ends up being kind of genius, because The New Simpsons Movie is exactly what a lot of people would have called this movie anyway, even if it had a completely different title. We can probably expect a ton of memes to come out of this production, just like the Spider Pig meme that came from the original movie. And before we forget, it'll hit theaters on September 3rd, 2027. The fun doesn't stop here. There are 2 amazing videos waiting for you on the screen. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.